Hey everyone, today we are building this AI powered code review agent using LangGraph. LangGraph is a framework for building stateful multi step AI workflows, multi step, multi agent AI work applications. Think of it as a way to create workflows where AI agent perform different tasks in sequence. So we'll be building this app something like this. We'll give it the code up here and we'll just click on review and it'll review and just create a brief analysis of your code up here, right? This can be extended to import code directly from the pull request, use GitHub APIs, get the pull request, review your code, leave comment inline. But that is like just some technical aspects to it, adding some helper method of getting the pull request from GitHub basically incorporates the GitHub API. I can build that as well, but that will be a larger video. So just to make you guys understand what LangGraph is, we are going with this thing. It gets the review results and there we are, like full summary report, issues that are found. So basically any code that you give it, it will give you a clear analysis of it. And I'll show you the way in which you can build this and extend it to add more functionality as well. Let's say you just want security issues or you want like dependency issues. You can add that functionality. It's just as simple as adding a new node into it. So we'll start by designing the architecture a little bit. So how LangGraph works basically. So LangChain, we all know it's like creating one linear chain and then executing the commands in sequence sort of thing, right? LangGraph is basically having a graph sort of structure, like goes from the name. It's basically like you can have a start node. So this will be a start node, let's say. It will do something like modify the data, create an agent or something like that. There'll be agent node. Let's say this does something. It can be as simple as parse the data, right? That's a node, let's say, right? This will be a node and you'll be having another node, let's say up here, which will do get issues in the code, right? And you can have a branching signature as well, like issues found. In that case, you can do, let's say, deeper analysis. If issues are found, you do a deeper analysis. If issues are not found, then you proceed to do, let's say, task 2. So this is sort of a chain way. And after doing a deeper analysis, sorry, not 25, after doing a deeper analysis, maybe you want to come back here. So this kind of structure is basically what LangGraph populates. So basically you start from a node, you have basically a graph sort of structure. That's it. These nodes, how to create these nodes, how to add these branching condition and everything, we'll just be covering in this video. So I really like just diving into the code and like starting it. I'll just create a make dir new directory code review agent, right? We'll create this, we'll go into code review agent and we'll initialize the backend first, right? So we'll create a directory backend and then we'll actually also cd into backend. So we'll let's just create this. Okay, cd backend, right? Okay. Double and I think I did that wrong, but that's fine. So we are in the backend. Let's create an environment. You can use UV as well. I'll use virtual environment right now. I'll give it name of code review, right? Python is not found. So this should be Python. Why it is not moving? Maybe Python 3. Yeah, Python 3 virtual environment. So this is me creating. Let me zoom it out a bit so that you guys can see it better. I hope you guys are able to see it, right? Now if I ls in the backend, we have this. So we'll do source. So let me just clear it first. We can do source code review bin and activate. For Windows, this command is different, so make sure you like check your respective command. So once we are here, we need to install some dependencies. So once this virtual environment is activated, you'll see the code review agent up here, right? So let's install some dependencies. So we'll install fast API. This is basically creating an API in the Python. So UVCon is basically to run the server. and then python dot environment so that we can put our environment variables up here. Then we have langchain, and then we have langchain Azure OpenAI. I need to confirm what this is, but LangGraph. I need to confirm what LangChain Azure OpenAI is, but we will see. We'll see. Yeah, OpenAI is not there, so I think it would be LangChain OpenAI. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so dependencies are installed. So before we start with like going on and coding stuff, let's understand some key concepts of LangGraph, I guess. Right. So first key concept is state, right? Now the state is basically the data that flows through the graph. This is one concept of LangGraph. I'll connect all the dots. Just bear with me for a while. Then we have this thing as nodes. So nodes are, each node does one thing. Basically, it either analyzes, finds issues, or something like that, right? And then the third thing is this edges, right? Edges are basically used to define the flow. Like let's say you have three nodes A, B, C. So A going to B going to C, right? This whole flow is guided by edges. So in our project, we are going to have three nodes. First node will be analyzer, which is going to analyze our repository. The second node that we're going to have is going to be issue finder. And the third node that we're going to have is report generator. Right. So these are the three nodes that we are having. Now LangGraph is very customizable. You can increase the number of nodes, you can decrease the number of nodes, all up to you. You can change the overall flow just like that, right? Now there is a data that goes in all of these three nodes, which is state. So it is like you have a array or basically a JSON, and you pass that JSON across every node. So that is basically state. So that is how LangGraph works. It's pretty simple. So let's jump into our code. Our backend is up here. Let's open our code up here. So this is our backend repo. I think I opened in backend. So let me open up here in code review agent. So up here we have our backend, and in our backend we just have one folder, which is code review, which is our virtual environment. Let's create our first file, which is app.py. Now this app.py, in this app.py, we need to make sure that we actually import our model that will, or basically a state that will pass through each of the node. So here we'll import from typing. We'll import typed dictionary and list, right? And we'll create a class code. We'll create a class code review state. This will take typed dictionary, and it will state that goes through nodes of our graph. Right, so code that we'll need to pass the code, then we'll need to pass the initial analysis. This is basically the first node. When it will do the analysis, we need to keep our analysis up here. Then we need to pass the issues, which is our second node, and then the final report. The final report is the string. Let me just zoom it for you a little. Let's close the chat window, but I hope you guys are able to see now. So this is our initial code review state that will be passing through each of the node. This type basically type dictionary will define our state. Every node will be writing to the state. Now let's create our three nodes, right? So from LangChain OpenAI import Azure Azure chat OpenAI, because I'm gonna be using Azure OpenAI. If you guys want to use OpenAI, Gemini, you just need to create some different sort of LLM. other whole flow will remain the same. So let's create this class simple code review agent. And in this class, we'll define the init method, which is like the initialize method. And let's create a LLM class, which will be chat OpenAI. Now this will take a couple of endpoints, which is like Azure endpoint, which I'll be getting from env, and Azure. Let me just write this and skip forward. Yeah, so these are the environment variables that you will be needing: Azure OpenAI endpoint, OpenAI key, OpenAI version, and deployment name. So we'll be creating a new file .env up here. And in this .env, actually this needs to go in the backend, move it. Yeah, in this .env, you need to populate these values. So OpenAI endpoint, which is up here, you need to add this. OpenAI key, you need to add this. OpenAI version and deployment name, which is 40 for me. So you need to add these. And I'll be replacing this environment variable with the actual ones, but for you guys, you can import yours. And now since I am using OS up here, I need to import OS, and also from .env import load.env and .env. So what this does is basically the environment variables that I've set up here, it loads all of them, and I can use them up here like they were the environment variable of my system. So I don't have to actually set the environment variable in my system. I can just set them in this file up here. That's it. So I have the LLM, which is basically the brain of my project, done. Now what I need to do next is basically create my first method, which is definition analysis agent. So this is my first agent that is going to be there. This will take self, and like I said, the state, if I open the diagram again, I said the state goes through every node. So this is my first node which I'm creating, but then the state has to go. So I'll put state up here and code review state, and this will return back dictionary. Now one thing which we should not hear, we can just return. Why are we not returning code review state? We are not returning the code review state because if we return the whole code review state, that would actually make the graph go bad. Like you can't return the whole state. You can just return only those variables which are changing, because I'll tell you why you can't return the whole review state. That is because if you, let's say, are having these three nodes working in parallel. So if you have these three nodes working in parallel, and if all three nodes are changing the whole state, basically the return type of this method tells LangGraph what changes this particular agent has made. And if you are returning the whole state, that means it tells the LangGraph that your whole state is changed. And in case of parallel nodes, so if all these three nodes are working in parallel, in that case, there will be an issue because LangChain will think that there is a race condition sort of. So we'll not tell LangGraph that we are changing the whole state. We will just tell LangGraph that, okay, we are just changing just one key value pair out of all of these. So dictionary, I need to import dictionary. I think it is from here. Yeah. So this is my first analysis agent. This is step 1, analyze the code. And what it does is basically you put it prompt, analyze the code briefly. And I need to give it the code. So the code will be coming in the state variable as initial analysis. Oh, actually it will be coming as code. So this is gonna be my state right now. And since it is multi-line, I need to use 3. Yep, now it is good. I can just write focus on purpose, structure, and concerns. That's it, I guess. The response that I will be getting is self.llm.invoke, and I can pass it the prompt. Now response will be returning me the initial analysis, so I can just return initial analysis is response.content, because the value comes as response.content. So this is my first node done. This will do the initial analysis of my code and store it as this variable. So now LangGraph only knows that, okay, this variable has changed and nothing else. So there won't be a race condition. We can even run the code in parallel. Like we can create the initial analysis and issues in parallel as well. But let's see that when we define it. So this is the first node. Let's create the second node, which will be like finding issues. Actually, for initial analysis also, let me make it private. This will be self, state will be again code review state, and dictionary up here. Step 2, find the issues in code. So there we go. The prompt will be based on, now from the first part of the code we got the analysis agent actually found this, did the initial analysis. So we can just pass this initial analysis to the second node. So we can just do state and then initial analysis. So based on the initial analysis, and you take the code as well, list 3 to 5 specific issues, format each as issues. So this is our second prompt, and again similar to the upper method, we got response as self dot LLM dot invoke, and we give it the prompt, and we return the issues as response.content. I think we need to strip down because we will get each of the issue as this, so we might need to strip down. So we can just get the issue as, or issues as line dot strip or line in response dot content dot split. So each line will split if line dot strip dot starts with dash. So this will actually strip down all the issues for us, and then we can actually store the issues up here, because we don't want the whole line, because GPT will give some initial analysis. One extra thing that we can do is create a pydantic model. So what we can do is, I won't be including that here, but basically what you can do is you can create a like agent return payload, and you can give it base model from which will come from pydantic. So what you can do is like from pydantic import base model. So you can get this, and then up here you can just give it issues and string or something, right? And up here when you create the LLM agent and when you run the invoke, basically you can give with structured output up here, and in here you can give a model like the agent return payload. So what this will do is basically it will return whatever response that you are getting, it will be returned in this format. Basically it will only populate the issues. So yeah, that is one way, but like I'll leave it to you guys to maybe try it out. But yeah, that's the other way. I'll remove this as well, and I'll remove this as well. Now this will be the final one, which is generate report. So self state will be code review state and then dictionary. This is going to be the step 3, generate report from the review. This is basically what we want to return to the user. So issues text is basically we want to do is join all the issues that we are getting. So join state issues. So all the issues we are getting, it is basically a list. We join all of them as a string. Kind of makes me think, why don't we just store them as a string itself? Like it's up to you. You guys can store it anyway. The prompt will be create a code review report. Analysis is basically analysis is up here. State is initial analysis. Code is state dot code. Actually, instead of code, why don't we just do issues is state dot issues. Format summary issues and recommendation. So this is how we can keep it up here. So response equal to LLM LLM dot invoke and print prompt, and we can just return the final report as response dot content. Now these are three nodes. You can add more nodes if you want, but these are the three nodes that we have created. Now this is the magic of LangGraph. Now we have to connect these nodes. So first let's go ahead and import from LangGraph dot graph import state graph and end. End is where we tell the LangGraph that okay, this is the last node, and state graph is used to create the graph. So we'll create a method def build graph, we'll take self, and then we'll go state graph, right? This is to build the graph, so we return the state graph. This will be build the LangGraph workflow. So workflow will be state graph, and the state we actually need to give this graph, which will be code review state. So first we'll just add nodes. So let's add some nodes up here, which is workflow dot add node. So node is basically you create the node first, then you add an edge from one node to another node. So first we need to create the nodes. So first this is analyzer, which is like self dot analysis agent workflow node, which will be issue finder, then self dot issue find issues, and workflow dot add node. Third node will be report generator, which will be self dot generate report. Right, so the nodes we have created, now we'll add the edges. So workflow dot add edge. So there are two sort of edges that we need to add. So first edge would be from analyzer to issue finder, and then from issue finder to report generator. But basically the first edge we have to define as set entry point. So we need to tell it what is the entry point. So that is analyzer. Then we need to add a sort of edge from analyzer to issue finder, and then we need to workflow dot add edge, not conditional edge, workflow dot add edge from issue finder to report, actually report generator, and then workflow dot add edge. Now if you guys can guess, this will be report generator and end. So basically you need to tell the LangGraph, okay, it ends here. And then the magic is workflow dot compile. This compiles the whole workflow. So now we have created a LangGraph agent and created a graph out of those agents. So this is there, and what we can do is in the init method itself, we can do self dot graph equals to build self dot underscore build graph. So we created a linear flow from analyzer to issue finder to report generator, and then the end, the compile method turns it into executable graph. We added the graph to the init method, so we have this LangGraph method ready with us. Now we need to create an endpoint out of fastapi, which we already imported up on the top. So we just need to create a server out of this. I'll use the same file. If you want to create a bigger project, you can extend this as well. So I'll import from fastapi, import fastapi, from pydantic import base model. Right, so I imported this. I'll create code review request, which will be base model of pydantic, and it will contain a string of code, right? This will be the request that comes to my fastapi server. So let's create the first method, which will be like app.post. So we'll create a review endpoint, and this will be like review code, and this will take the parameter that we just gave, which is like request will be code review request. So when a request comes in, we create an initial state as Now we need to give it a bunch of different parameters. So code will be request dot code. We'll plug that in the front end. Then we'll create the we'll keep the other things as null for now. All other states are null for now. So result will be agent. Actually, before all of that, we need to create agent also. Simple code review agent. We create this up here. So agent dot graph dot invoke will initial state and it will invoke. So we have a graph method here. We created an agent up here and this should work. Okay, we need to define this app as well. App equals to fast API. Good. So this is our endpoint done, which will get the result and it will return. Let's create a return method also. So analysis result of initial analysis issues that has result dot issues report is basically result dot final report. So this is my endpoint ready as well. So let's set for the backend. So we can test it using our HTTP file as well. So let me just try running it. There we are, and let's go to backend. Let's try to run it. UV phone app and then reload. Address already in use. Let me see if I have another server running. Let me stop these server. Let me try running it again. Okay. So let's kill the process running on this port. So let's see what is running on this. So there are two processes running. So kill 928.695 and 99. There we go. If this should work now. Yeah, this is running now. So backend is good. It's running. We can test it right now using HTTP file, but let's quickly create a front end as well so that we can test it. But this, I'm pretty sure this will be running. Let's create the front end as well. So code and then code review agent, and here we need to create the front end repository. So npx create next app at the latest front end TypeScript tailwind app. So let's create a front end and let's wire it up. Okay, so this is done. Let's go into the front end up here. Our backend is already running up here. Let's go into the front end and just do npm run dev. Let's see if it starts. It started on 3000. Good. Let's go into the front end. Let's go into src app. Let's go into the page. Let's remove all of this stupid things. So here we can start by telling it that this is our client, and can import use state from React. So home is exported already. What are the state components that we will be needing? So we'll be needing code and set code. So use state, and we need to set an initial template. So I've already created that. I'll just paste that up here. So this is the initial template. If you want, I'll put a GitHub repo link somewhere. You can take the front end from there. So this is the initial method that I want it to have. Then I need to have a constant of result, which will come from the API, and then set result as well, which will be use state and null right now. And I need to have a loading and set loading as well, which will be use state as false in the beginning. and this can be of type any. I have the backend model which I can keep up here, but anyways, we can just keep it any. So to fetch the review code, basically what we need to do is let's first create the elements up here. Okay, so I created a main method. You can go to my GitHub, please. I'll push this code there. This is the main method. Use a little bit of AI as well. So not gonna be going through every class myself. And yeah, this basically displays the result.report, and full report will be coming here. Result.issues will be here, length. What we will be doing is writing a method. So this review code is a method which is up here. There is a button in which, there we go. So on this, let me show you the front end actually first. So actually at 3000, let's see. Let's write a little bit of code here. Return null for now, and this, because this method is getting called from here on click review code. So once you click on review code, this is supposed to work and render the result from the backend. So this, I think, okay, so it's not here right now. I think I need to add the logic of this method. I need to, let's just plug in the backend only. So constant response is basically await fetch http/localhost 3000, actually 8000/review. This is the endpoint that we created. Let's give in the body as method will be post, header will be content type application/JSON, body will be json.stringify as our code object, and constant data is await response dot json, and then set result as data. So there we go, that is the method. Let's see if it works now. Okay, so we got our whole method up here, and yeah, let's try it out now. So we have added the review method, and this is our terminal. Let's open up our UI and terminal parallelly, and let me open up the backend near it so that we guys are able to see what goes on to the backend. Try to do it like this. Yep, there we go. Let me do review code. Hopefully, oh, method not allowed. Review method not allowed. Okay, /review method not allowed. Let's see. http localhost slash, where is our backend app? I think I understand why this is there. This might be due to course. Let's add app dot add middleware, and let's add course middleware. So course middleware, you can just do from fast API dot middleware dot course, import course middleware and course middleware, and you can allow origins as http/localhost/3000. So this should work now. Let's see again. This refreshed. Let me try it out again. Bad request. Okay, how is it a bad request this time? Let's put another two methods of allow methods and this to be there. Will this work now? Okay, so it returned 200. Review result did not come. Let's do it again. Okay, we got the review result. There is our review result. We error handling. Oh, More results this time. Yeah, so it works. Let's try out some other code. Let's try out some other code. It's going on. I pressed the button too many times, I guess. Let's check some other code. Do I have any other code? Yeah, I do have a code here which I wrote for Microsoft. Let's try this out. Let's try this out. Let's try this out. Here, let's try here. Let's review code. Let's go and let it find bugs in my code. I need to restructure this analysis and all to look good, but yeah, for now I think this is decent enough. It works, right? Provided code in C sharp has a that is extension method, blah 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 blah. Method accepts ilogger parameter but does not perform any logging action. This is a valuable comment, like you are getting a logging parameter but you're not doing anything. So yeah, this works. I think this I might even use it. And if you want a better agent, so I built that as well. So that agent is up here. So this is my personal project which I'm using. So this has a bigger like review state and all. So if you want, like, this is a minimal version which I'm using in for the tutorial and all. If you want a bigger version, you can include like many nodes. Like this has an initial analyzer, security reviewer, performance reviewer, best practice, testing, and then you need to reflect also back. So this is like a whole node. So this works as well. I mean, you can increase the agent size as well. But yeah, for now, that's our agent. Quick understanding of how LangGraph works, how it makes it very easy to build complex workflow agents. Yeah, it gives you full report and everything. Yep. If you like the video, please do subscribe, do like, and I do appreciate you guys watching. Thank you.